Protests in major U.S. inner cities, L.A., Chicago, New York, all have fallen to what can be best described as Trumpophobia.
Racist, sexist, anti-gay, Donald Trump, go away.
But not everyone's chanting and fist-pumping. More law-abiding anti-Trumpers in New York took to plastering a subway wall with Post-it notes, giving out some positive vibes. Mainstream media, especially on the progressive and liberal side, freaked out. CNN went further.
ISIS this morning are actually celebrating Trump's victory.
Yes, the network got the world's worst terrorists' reaction. There it is. Billionaire fool will destroy America himself. And get this, comparing the worst terror attack in U.S. history to the presidential election. You heard it. 9/11 and 11/9 are equally horrifying. BuzzFeed's already counting down to the next presidential election. It's in just over 3 years and 11 months, so hang on there a bit. And if you're suffering from the PTSD, or the post-Trump stress disorder, there is a crisis helpline. Thank you, Huffington Post. Well, dear MSM, maybe you should call it, since you obviously can't cope with the fact that America elected its president.
Thank you.
That's how their democracy works, and has been working perfectly fine for the past 229 years. Strong enough, apparently, to tell other countries how to do it properly, until that is someone from outside the Capitol Hill Club gets the top job.
A growing secessionist movement in the nation's biggest state got a kickstart after Tuesday's presidential election. Yes, California is pushing for California to secede and become a separate country. The group staged a day-long informational session Wednesday outside the state capitol in Sacramento. Discussion of the idea exploded Wednesday on Twitter. Tweets with the hashtag CalExit rolled in at hundreds per minute all day. Many were often paired with the hashtag #NotMyPresident in reference to Donald Trump's election. They backed the movement, but a significant proportion also adopted the hashtag to ridicule it.
We have an astonishing clip, of course, coming out of CNN from a lady. Now, she was a protester in one of these protest movements yesterday. She actually claims that Trump supporters need to die. Take a look at this.
Lily, your sign tonight says...
Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. If we don't fight, who's going to fight for us? People had to die for freedom where we're at today. We can't just do rallies. We have to fight back. There will be casualties on both sides. There will be, because people have to die to make a change in this world. But Trump, enough with your racism. Stop splitting families. Don't split my family.
And you're fearful that you're going to lose friends and relatives?
Yeah, a lot. Friends, family, even all races. Not just my Hispanic culture, but the rest of the races. Don't take away our rights. You know, impeach Donald Trump. That's what he needs to get, impeached.
All right, Paul.
Well, as you can hear,
Paul,
Don, that's some
much.
of the sentiments here.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. And no one should be advocating.
You know, I'm speechless. I think I just heard her call for people to die. This woman who is protesting so violently is calling for violence and death of fellow Americans because, quote, that's what it takes. Now, this massive anti-Donald Trump protest, it was done in California a day after the election. CNN caught this video. And of course, we hear Don Lemon say, oh, we're not advocating violence. But then they go ahead and race bait to every single day on that network. It is a different story about race baiting. And this black mob is seen viciously beating a white Trump voter. And you can hear one of them say, you voted for Trump, you're going to pay for that SHIT. Now, Paul points out in this video clip, and it's really violent. It's very shocking. This is coming outside of Chicago. It's a mob of black young men viciously beating an older white man because he voted for Donald Trump. They're dragging him through the streets as he hangs out of the back of the car. The clip, now there are two separate clips of this. It shows them repeatedly screaming, you voted for Donald Trump, as they assault him from every single angle. They steal his belongings. They take his car. Another woman who is onlooking, she's shouting, beat his ASS. And then another man is heard laughing on this tape, don't vote for Trump. We have two videos of this incident. One is being called, it was dubbed and put up to the F Donald Trump song. It's a phrase now that's being chanted in these protests across the country. And this poor man, you can actually see him. His hand is stuck in the window. They actually drive off with his car, if you can believe that. And the scene is absolutely insane. They're, of course, accusing him of being linked to the, quote, racist candidate.
Been a night of unrest as anti-Donald Trump protests erupt in about 20 cities across the country.
And growing in downtown Los Angeles, we've been keeping an eye on this demonstration. Thousands of people pouring onto the 101 freeway overnight, blocking traffic in both directions for several hours. Police arrested more than a dozen demonstrators there.
Large crowds also rally against Trump's election in New York, Chicago, Dallas, and Seattle, with police making arrests in nearly every city. We went to one of those protests here in Manhattan.
Overnight protesters hit the streets from coast to coast. Seattle, Chicago, New York. Thousands of people marched in at least 10 cities, speaking out against President-elect Donald Trump.
I'm here to show solidarity to people who've been affected by the hatred that Donald Trump's rhetoric has invigorated in this country.
Here in Manhattan, crowds chanted things like "Dump Trump" and "New York hates Trump" as they blocked the entrance of Trump Tower, where the president-elect was said to be home at the time.
I'm a Republican, I'm a woman. I have never come out to a protest, and I've never felt so passionately about anything being wrong in my life. As a Hispanic woman, I don't feel safe in this country anymore.
In California, demonstrators gathered on the 101 in Los Angeles, shutting down the freeway. And in Oakland, people set multiple fires on city streets, forcing police in riot gear to move in and use tear gas.
I don't want a president that represents everything that is negative about this world. I would rather have a president that's positive and peaceful.
And in the nation's capital,
No Trump, no KKK, no racist USA.
people gathered outside the White House before marching to the newly opened Trump International Hotel.
I am terrified. I come from a family of political refugees from Cuba, and I'm very grateful to this country for having accepted us. And I'm terrified.
Donald Trump doesn't represent me or my community. I have two daughters. It's really important that I set an example, that I don't abide by misogyny or bigotry.
This president-elect represents hate, does not represent American values.
My greatest fear is that I feel like people are afraid, and I work in public schools, and I see students of colors, I see students from immigrant families who are afraid of how they're going to be treated, and it scares me, and I want to fight for them because they are Americans, they deserve to be here, they deserve to be treated equally, and they deserve a promising future.
We begin this evening with breaking news. Anti-Trump protesters shut down Lakeshore Drive. Thousands spill onto the drive carrying protest signs, marching along stalled vehicles. Chopper 2 over the scene as traffic was closed in both directions. And earlier, some tense moments near Trump Tower as dozens of protesters jump on a CTA bus. Now a live look from Chopper 2 over Wabash and Wacker. You can see a large group, though not as large as earlier, still gathered there. Good evening, I'm Rob Johnson.
And I'm Erica Sargent. Chicago among several U.S. cities marching tonight coast to coast in protest. In New York City, a sea of people gathered outside Trump Tower. Thousands also took to the streets in Oakland, California, expressing disapproval for President-elect Donald Trump. And the same drama unfolding in Philadelphia, where demonstrators shouted anti-Trump slogans.
want people to realize that regardless of who won, whether it's Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, the entire goal is to create order out of chaos. And if Donald Trump wins, or now that we know that he won, the goal is to create so much confusion, dissension, chaos, that will implement, or they will implement, their New World Order agenda. But no different if Hillary Clinton would have won. You'd have had a uprising of patriots, of people, of constitutionalists, whatever you want to call it, which would have created chaos. These entities like Katy Perry and all these celebrities that are urging for riots, they play the neutral position. They are the entity that's in the middle, that does not have any allegiance to any government, any institution, any race, any creed, any political party, nothing. Their main goal is to stay on the sidelines while the chaos, whether it comes from the liberal aspect or whether it comes from a Republican aspect, whether it comes from a patriot position or whether it comes from a Black Lives Matter or White Lives Matter position. The New World Order puppets play the sidelines while the chaos ensues. And when the chaos ensues, that's their victory. Because from this chaos, there's war. And from this war, there's dissolution. And from dissolution, there's complete annihilation. And from that, they rise, the phoenix, out of those ashes with a new government, a new system, and a new religion. So what we're seeing, whether Donald Trump has won or not, or Hillary Clinton has won or not, what we are witnessing now that Donald Trump has won, we're witnessing the beginning of chaos. And the only way to kill their plans is to unite, is to have unity, is to have a togetherness, a peacefulness, because what is happening is falling perfectly into their plans.
It was very hopeful, cautiously optimistic, but I mean, we wouldn't have come here if we didn't think she was going to win.
I know. Like, I don't know what else to say. He is a monster, and he is going to be our president.
You're awake, by the way. You're not having a terrible, terrible dream. Also, you're not dead and you haven't gone to hell. This is your life now. This is our election now. This is us. This is our country. It's real.
Slavery, we about to be in chains like a motherfucker. We going back to root. Obama gave y'all hope. Trump bring it back to root.
Getting ready for bed, but excuse my language, but fuck this. Donald Trump for president? Mr. Oh, I've never been bankrupt. Well, records just show you've been bankrupt so many times. Mister, I want to build a wall on the Canadian Mexican borders. Fuck you. Mister, I got approved by the North Korean president. That should raise red flags on... What? What? Make it a great game. Donald Trump's gonna fuck us over and over and over again. This is my opinion, my rant. That's going on YouTube. And this, the reason why I voted for Jesus Christ for president. Make America great again. God. Trump is gonna fuck us over.
Man, this is some bullshit, you know. Trump as a president? Oh my God. You guys, America, oh my God, you guys are fucking something else. Guarantee you a dog can be a runner-up for our next presidency. And you guys will elect this dog as our next president. There's no way. Why wouldn't you pick Hillary, you know? Both of them aren't everyone's favorite. But Hillary, she has more experience in the White House, you know? She knows how to work her way around stuff. She's, you know, she's just got more experience than he does, and would know to do things in the White House than fucking Trump. Oh my God. And oh my God, his family, him and his family, does not look like president material. You know, his wife can't even speak English. Come on.
We got the fucking pussy grabbing racist, tangerine near death looking ass, toupee wearing motherfucking with Russian ties as our fucking president. Bunch of fucking stupid ass, nut ball sucking ass niggas watch the reality show and say, hey, he just might be a good president. You know, and time flies. So even though it's not popping off till January, that shit feels like it's happening tomorrow. Because that's exactly, you know, we right around the corner from 2017. Damn. Like, bro, y'all ain't got, don't worry about nobody else reaching out to y'all motherfuckers. Real talk. Real talk. And it had to be the fucking South. Real talk. I don't have nothing against the South, but the East and West Coast had enough fucking sense. I'm just saying, enough fucking sense, my nigga. Fucking livid, bro. I know what to do with my feelings and my emotions right now because, like, I feel so fucking out of whack.
It says right here, Donald Trump has been elected President of the United States. We are fucked. We don't want Donald Trump. I don't care if this video goes viral and gets me in trouble. Because Donald Trump is a fucking ass nigger. Well, not really nigger. But he should not be president. Never. He's just gonna get rid of, like, people we care about. Like, my family, like, half of my family speaks Spanish. Like, legitly. And I'm gonna lose, like, Anthony, my friend, my cousins. Like, they're gonna go back where they came from.
Hello, America. Just a quick note. What the genuine fuck do you think you're playing at?
Oh, glad to meet you. Name's Tigger. T-I-double-G-R. That spells Tigger.
This no fucking joke. You just elected a fucking monster.
Oh man, come on, dude. Oh man. Why didn't Hillary try harder, dude? Why would she fuck up with the emails, man? Like, oh, dude. Oh, man. Oh, what do you mean he won? By how much? How much did he win? Come on, Tyler, you gotta let me know. Tell me.
213 to however much. She was down by like 60 points.
No, dude, no. What do you? It was supposed to be close, man. That's a blowout. That's a blowout. Yeah, no.
Trump is the president of the United States of the West. He won't be inaugurated until January. The word has just reached Donald J. Trump. Conventional wisdom and all expectations. Long-term practices of the Republican Party were still in the head.
Hillary would be the better choice because if you think about it, she has Trump pretty much just guns for everyone. Just give everyone guns. Everyone needs guns. Well, what about the people who abuse other people? What about the drug lords? What about people that are mentally unstable? I think that I agree with Hillary that there should be limits on the gun law. He needs what? Hillary needs 55 votes and Trump only needs 60. Focus. I think Hillary has a chance.
Leaked documents of hedge fund globalist George Soros and his Open Society foundations reveal that the atheist billionaire behind Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton is funding a massive network of organizations and even curious ministers who attack not only political opposition, but who advance Soros's radical and comprehensive social agenda for America. These leaks are confirmed by IRS and web documents of Open Society and related foundations. Like a bully on the playground, the Soros network has profited by funding the decline of cultures and economies.
I am particularly interested in changes in the rules of the game.
In 1930, Soros was born in Hungary. George's role model was his father, Tivadar Schwartz, who sold information about fellow Jews to the Nazi regime.
It was actually probably the happiest year of my life, that year of German occupation.
Changing their name to Soros, the family moved to England, where George studied at the socialist London School of Economics. Through his quantum fund, he amassed wealth by influencing events, elections, and currencies in Asia, Russia, and Europe. In 1992, he broke the Bank of England. In France, he became a convicted felon for insider trading. As Soros's global network weakens sovereign nations, it grows in wealth and power. Millions of people suffer the consequences. For several decades, their target has been America. Through his Open Society foundations, Soros postures himself as a philanthropist who has spent over $10 billion to fundamentally transform America. What is this so-called progressive network doing to us and how? They advance educational content in our schools, the transgender movement, drug legalization, the sex worker industry, abortion, euthanasia, open borders, the flow of Islamic refugees, and voting schemes. Their formula seems to be billions of dollars to activists and organizers, and funding to the media, funding to rented ministers, and funding to judges and politicians, which results in the fundamental transformation of America. Let's take a closer look. Circle 1, money. Joined by other globalist foundations like Ford, Tides, Gill, Arcus, Rockefeller, and Carnegie of New York, the Soros network offers near infinite money to organizers and activists who create and swarm on events and issues to agitate political drama. While funding hundreds of media channels and technology networks to make their street theater our national narratives. To give the impression of the moral high ground, the Soros network also funds what they call evangelical and Catholic mascots to serve as surprising validators for their anti-Christian projects and candidates. Imagine the evil of using a Christian front to de-Christianize the culture and nation. In this video clip from the New America Foundation, an executive admits their rent and evangelical model of social change.
Doing a sort of rent and evangelical, as we used to call it on the national security side, rent in general, model.
The network funds religious groups including Jim Wallace's Sojourners, PICO, Faith in Public Life, Faithful America, Richard Cizik's New Evangelical Partnership, Telos, J Street, National Council of Churches, Evangelicals for Human Life, Catholics United, Catholics in Alliance for the Common Good, Catholics for Choice, And through the network's National Immigration Forum, they fund religious groups advancing open borders, amnesty, and voter registration for their new America. Rather than advancing the whole counsel of Scripture as the highest love for people and culture, these useful ministers assist non-Christian policies, projects, and politicians with faith words, optics, organizing, and media to confuse Christian and other value voters, to recruit the church into their radical political agenda, and to help the left's politicians get elected.
You're absolutely right that John McCain has not talked about my Muslim faith, and you're absolutely right that that has not
Christian
come my Christian faith.
I admire Margaret Sanger enormously. Her courage, her tenacity, her vision.
All of which works to fundamentally transform America.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
The Soros network of money and activists breaks down life-giving wisdom of marriage and the family with progressive education, alternative identities and sexualities, abortion, and soon euthanasia. The network grows government power, taxes, welfare dependency, and debt. The Soros network breaks down civil society and ethnic harmony by hiring organizers to create street theater that becomes our ugly national narratives. The network advances illegal migration and unvetted refugees, bringing crime, disease, drugs, and even terror to America. The Bible teaches wise welcome, not open borders. The network advances many Islamist projects endangering Europe, Israel, and America. It aided President Obama's nuclear deal, giving $150 billion to Iran, a state sponsor of terror. Now, after 8 years of President Obama forcing open borders, the network is supporting voter fraud by documenting undocumented people to vote.
Turn your centers, Islamic centers, mosques, into registration centers for voters, into polling stations during the election time. Black Lives Matter is our campaign.
And after decades of collaboration with the Clintons, George Soros is now the chairman of Ready for Hillary PAC.
We have been given an extraordinary blessing, and at this moment in time, our country needs us, and we need people like George Soros, who is